Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, as the love and support everybody shares and sends my way. From the heart, as always, thank you. Well, everyone, getting right into it, I hope this one does record. Last night I did a 41 minutes recording of this and somehow, some way, it didn't go out to my knees. It basically got stuck, got lost. It's on my computer, but I can't even hear it or nothing. So let me see if I could redo it right. Well, today I want to talk about the homie, right? W or Whiskers from La Mirada. You know, this homie had been down when I met him like 10 balas, 10 years, right? So he had been down for a while, and I believe he had 18 or 19 years, right? So overall, he had 8, 9 years left to go to the house. And basically, this is going to touch on the question that's been asked numerous times, right? Can you go into the system, basically program, but at the same time keep your head down, stay away from politics and certain things, and just do your time, right? And for the most part, let me say, yeah, you can. It's just a gamble. Everything in life's a gamble, right? The only difference is prison. You're basically gambling with your freedom, with your life. But I'll go back to Corcoran, 2003. You know, I had gotten there, like I mentioned, to four left, and then I got sent over to four right. You know, and you guys know within time I started helping Indio, Playboy, and Artie, right, with A Yard, and I assigned, excuse me, bloqueros to every every block per se, right? But as I'm there, a camarada arrived to Fort Right from La Mirada, and you know, we'll just say W, right? The homie W, he was a good individual, you know, when it came to camarada wise. Again, he just didn't want to get involved in the politics. He was back there for a riot, that happened with the camaradas and the blacks up there in Susanville or I there's one of them too. Nevertheless, he never picked up a piece because he didn't want no more tiempo, right? Besides the normal write up. But that's the thing, that's a gamble too. When that goes up with another race, you can't tell another race, nah, I don't use fierros because I want to go home. Or in this case, the camarada hoop banging on the riot with you next to you. You never know his way of thought, right? And you could be binking on somebody and he could pull out and start whacking them. So you guys know when the dust settles, most of the time you can't see nothing. You know, if you're an individual, they're gonna spray you. They're gonna throw one of them speedhead grenades, shot grenades, and you're meant to keep your mouth shut. That's what prison is, right? So next thing you know, you go back to the hole because someone got whacked, you were near, or maybe a piece got found, or whatever, right? And you have to keep your mouth shut, right, at all times, unless you want to weenie out and go to that side, right, for basically telling. But anyways, this is what happened in this case, right? And you cannot force a camarada to take the rep, point blank. There is solid homies like me. I was a diver, so if I got caught with a camarada with a date, I would right away get him off, knowing DA wasn't going to pick it up, right? But there is those that just stay quiet, basically saying we're going to write it out together to see if the DA don't pick it up, because there was this belief that if no one took the rap, DA would not pick it up. But it wasn't the case, you know. From personal experience, I know DA picked it up if it was 2, 3. It didn't matter how many, right? It was just a thought that everyone had back there. Anyway, again, there's just nothing there that will have to make a camarada take the rap, even though it's true, right? So you would just have to write it out and see what happens. In this case, DA didn't pick it up, but he did pick up with CDC at 115 shoot term. So he would end up in Corcoran, as I was mentioning. His stay with us in Fort Wright was short for the reason that they have that program, right, in in the section, and they have their own yard, and it's them high profile pesetas, right? And whenever they do something, they do the whole time right there in B section where we were at. So they take priority. So I guess they needed the cell where the homie was at, right? With his him and his celly, and he would end up going with Güero from Verdugo that was assisting me with 2 right. So he would end up getting shot to 2 right, and you know, I told him once you get 30% your paperwork to him, everything, I will go ahead and shoot an amapil, letting them know you were here and everything's good, right? So just keep doing you, homie. You see, I was never that sour individual, right? I had double life, but to me, it was like, honestly, I was an idiot and thought it's what I was meant to do and I wanted to do, right? Which is be at peace with being in prison for life. And talking to the individual, yeah, he just wanted to go home, you know, do his time and go home and see if he could rescue his life a little bit, right? Which is respectful, you know. If you're really about making a homie, you don't want a camarada to suffer with you in prison, right? You want him to have some type of leverage to do something with himself besides following orders, you know, or waking up, suiting up, tying your laces up, and wait on war, right? It's just, to be honest, not just anybody has it, right? As you guys see, there's a lot of individuals that get tired and go to the other side, right? With no funny stuff. It's just they get tired, period. And, let me clarify. When I say them weenie side, I'm referring to them cats that go out telling, you know. I understand and I respect that maybe some get tired of the program and they want to just do their time. They go over there and mind their business, and or those that get pencil whipped or they get crossed up for wrong reasons, right? That are over there. There is a lot of good individuals on that side, and that's a fact, you know. But when I talk about or say the Winnie side, it's because I'm referring to rats, and the biggest rats, it's the debriefers, right? That they're not even wanted on the PC side by them cats. That goes to tell you what how big of a rat a debriefer is. But anyways, today our reaction is gonna go up on the outlook from the GP side to the levels of a rat, you know. But anyways, that's a different topic. Everything was cool, at least in my eyes, because of the homie wanting to go to his pad, right? And not wanting to be stuck in prison. He explained to me on the yard he would perform when it came to a Ramfla issue as a whole, right? Sureño card. But he tried to stay away from getting in the mix of anything and picking up more time for the prison trauma, you know. Most of he didn't want no type of politics involvement, you know, or even getting to know Billy. He was on a different trip, right? Again, I guess he was real well respected in his neighborhood, right? La Mirada, Whisker, Whis, Whis, W, Whisters, Whiskers is what they call the homie. Sorry, my getting tongue tied this morning. But again, we'll just say W, right? When he wasn't too right, that's the thing you gotta always remember. When I say every yard, in this case, every building had a bloquero, yes, they all would end up having to tell me before reaching Villa, right? Nevertheless, what I'm trying to say is every place you land, it's a different mentality. It's a different go around or wiggling of an individual, thought wise, action wise. And basically, there had been a couple issues on the yard, right? On the concrete yard. And they requested the homie W from La Mirada to regulate a couple individuals, just go and put some coscorrones to them, right? And it just don't look good in the sense that if he has that thought already, right? Of course, it brings fear in the shoe because it's you're in a little concrete yard and you can't be afraid of getting spray real good with that. That really hurts, you know, not them little canister, and not be afraid of the blood gun. You're gonna get hit, you know, but just duck your head down and keep pushing. At the end of the day, it's gonna hit and open, right? But you gotta pull the mission. But not everyone again thinks alike, and yeah, you could always say no. That's a fact, right? You're entitled to say no. One time, the homie got asked 2 times to just put hands on individuals, right? And that should have been what he should have done, period, point blank. That way, they moved on to the next individual. Well, Guero didn't think so. He took it as disrespect because he kept saying no. And he brought it up to myself at least a couple times that Homeboy didn't want a program. He was taking it as Homeboy, he keeps saying no on certain things. And, you know, what type of homie is it? The one that don't want to get his hands dirty back here. He don't want to support the casa, right? And more so. So, I told him just he had a short shoe. I'm not sure if he got 16 months, but he did about 10 months in the prison he was in. So he had about 6 months to go back to Alinea. So I told him the homie just wants to go to the line. Is there something wrong with him? He don't want to perform for the casa, and if Artie finds out, I told him I'll go ahead and take care of Artie. I'll reach out to him, explain things, and let me get a homeboy, which I did, throughout my appeal. And I told him, like, look, homie, I understand you got your eyes set on going home. You don't want to do the extras, but this ain't extras. Back here in the shoe, you got to get up to bat. For some reason, the camarada that's there put his eyes on you. He's giving you a chance to just basically tip someone up. And yeah, you're going to get a 115. Who knows if you're going to get a little bit more shoe, but you're not going to pick up a case. He's looking out for you in that sense. And I told him in this appeal, I'm putting a stop to it, but if it goes over me, right about you, and it comes down directly from over there, there's just nothing I could do. I'm a simple títere, right? Just holding responsibilities for them here. Well, it happened to the dot. I guess Güero went out to medical, and that was one place we always saw camaradas from Villar, right? You always were in the dog cages, and then they brought Villar in, and I knew, Sal or Speedy, they were two on the main fool that were back there validated that took information back, right? In this case, it was Speedy. Homeboy complained, and basically Speedy told him, look, I'll tell Playboy from White Fence. I'll bring it up to Indio or even directly to Artie. This was unknown to me. I guess Weddle took it that personal, right? He was trying to have me tell him, okay, go ahead and Southside him, to check himself, but I didn't. And within time, Playboy got at me, and he basically told me what was up with dude, and I told him he was here with me. The homie has a good heart. He's not a lifer. He wants to go home. Is and Playboy basically told me, F home. We're in here. Used to lose any type of feeling and thought about going home. That's a sign of weakness. And I go, I agree with you. You know me, and I'm ready to boogie whenever. So basically, he told me the next move is gonna be Weddle's decision. Homeboy's either gonna get up to bat or get down to sit. If you guys get it. And I told him, hey, con todo y dado respeto, That's your decision and you made it with Güero, and I respect that, right? So the reason I didn't want to say his name because I don't really know if they sat him down, right? But what did happen was they had him on the shine, like I said. Don't know to what extent, but it came out with what was his vato's name from Mara? There was a homie from Mara Salvatrucha, right? That went there that had a pegada coming to him, right? Not like you take his wing, you just check him, right? But with fierros, he had a hard candy pegada on him, and they told homeboy, "Hey, W, it's your turn, and this is we're not asking, it's time to go." So I guess homeboy seen the writing on the wall, and he said, "Simon," or he went out there with the peas, right? Him and his celly, you know, and his celly being from him, man, he had all day. He he pumped him up or something. The point is, the homie read the writing on the wall, and he went out to the fierro, and they took care of business, right? They hit the vato, and basically, when Güero got at me, he told me like, "Hey, homeboy, he pulled through, and it was good, you know. I I'll send a good word to Playboy." And I told him, "Yeah, just make sure you take him off the shit list with Playboy. You put him in, right? Excuse my language." And but there wasn't enough time. You see, when you go into prison with that thought, "I want to go home. I want to go home." I don't know what happens in your mind, right? Because I sincerely don't understand. Maybe all of you could tell me a little bit on your thought on why this happens so much, right? You see, after the pegada, the homie, he locked it up. He locked it up after la pegada, and unfortunately, as far as I know, he spoke, you know, because Goon Squad's funny. Some of you could ask Goon Squad for a favor, like many do, right? And believing Goon Squad's going to keep it to themselves is, you know, they'll go around and start telling all everything what you're saying. Believe me. And anyways, the homie pushed on. DA didn't end up picking that up though, and he caught as the other vato. The other vato was a lifer, so he didn't care. But basically, 13 more balas. But my thing is, or my question, excuse me, I seen it many, many times. Vatos have already that thought of walking away because it's just not with it anymore, right? And instead of walking away respectfully, they go out and do the mission and then lock it up and start telling. Could somebody tell me they see the the common sense in that? You know, I don't. You know, why go through the struggles and then lock it up? But anyways, I don't know what goes through one's mind, right? To be sincere, that locking it up wasn't even a thought in my head. It never was, and if I was there, it would never be. I understand certain things change, and you know, it's just part of go out boogie, give the camaradas the respect to do their thing, and if you don't fall, patch up, come back out, and until whatever, right? But again, different minds, right? But I said, the Vato ended up catching over 10 years, right? With the other homie from Mara, and all of a sudden that pride trip goes. You see, we always speak about people getting in your head to go into prison to earn your respects for the right individuals, earn your badge. But there is also them vatos and homies that end up acting up on the streets, acting like they're really about it, right? And they go to prison. They want to do the less, but they want to get out with a title. Because everyone here could not gonna deny that when we're kids or peewees, mocosos, right? A homeboy gets out from prison, from GP, and we're not like little kids looking at Topollillo or, our brown superhero because he did his prison term. He's he gets put in a pedestal, right, for completing his mission, and a lot of vatos they want to do that, but at the same time they want to sit down and do the less in prison, and that's a no. So again, they're when the homies date, cause look, he had it 8 9 years, 13 more. That's 20 something years, and then he locked it up and went on that side, right? Again, I don't know how that side works, but truly see to lose sight, right, and pick up hate. Let's just be sincere and start doing things that go against everything that one in one's mind is responsible for picking up more time, right? Because you always talk about time, time, they're going to give me time. But do you really analyze what that means? It means maybe the loss of a loved one, jefito, jefita, maybe accidents with kids, and at the same time, you having to receive that news and sit in your cell and buck up. Of course, there's resentment there, right? But it's what exactly what happened. The in look and the message for this is don't gamble. Go for what's for sure. Life is unsure on its own already. But if you have the opportunity, let the machismo go. You might say, "Oh, I'm going to go in for a year, 2 years." Do you really know what the courts are going to give you? You're gambling then. But just to get out and have everybody say, "Oh, get chingon, this fool went into prison," and you know, you put yourself in situations in prison that, unfortunately, when you're part of the movement, it's a mando. With this, I'm not saying you cannot go in and do your time and stay away from politics, but I'll be honest, you would have to be in a lower level. You know, high level is for 180. All camaradas should be strapped. No buts, no ifs. Wherever I was, is every camarada there was to have a fierro. Why? Because if we went to war with a different race, best believe blacks, Asians, whites, norteños especially, they were all going to be strapped up. So it's a mandatory. So that alone is you're going to come out and use your pedazo. You see what I'm trying to say? It's basically, again, it's a gamble. It's that easy. This vato is doing everything correct. Try to stay under the water. And a little riot took him to the shoe. And it went from him being in the house, at least with myself. And I'm not going to say a kaya ya, right, about me. But I never had nothing against a camarada keeping up with the program and wanting to go home. I agreed. Life first should be first up, right? Just because of the DAA and it's part of taking one for the team, point blank for the camaradas. But you also got, for example, on the line, you might have a big old tecato with a whole bunch of tecato buddies that are lifers. He don't want to get rid of them. He wants to keep getting high. So he's going to utilize you. That you're doing your thing solo before them. And that's wrong. But again, it's a gamble. Don't gamble over pride or whatever, right? If you have to do something for your neighborhood and have to be there, I always say it, buck up. But if you have time to do your thing for your neighborhood and at the same time grow, no real camarada will ever have a problem with that. That's the best. Be smart, be true to yourself and loyal to your loved ones. Don't gamble with your life or family.